What is up, Sportskeeda, YouTube, and KliqpodGaming Nation? Oh my God, today is such a good day. For those of you who don't know, it might be tuning into our channel for the first time. We are the KliqpodJg. What we are is we're a wrestling podcast / YouTube channel, but not only that, we also do gaming videos as well. Today is such a monumentous day because today is our very first video being hosted by Sportskeeda. That's a very exciting moment for us, guys. A little back history. So I'm JG, my partner in crime is Mean Dean, and then my other partner in crime is Mr. Tommy Guns. We're just three guys who are very opinionated, love wrestling, and love to talk it. But not only that, we had this idea about a year and a half ago. I was fortunate to come across Mr. Mean Dean in my life. We got to talking, found out we had a mutual love for wrestling. And one day he was like, hey, man, you want to do a podcast on it? And I was like, yeah. And we started. And originally when we started, it was roundtable discussions like, what's the greatest wrestling video game of all time? Who are the top 10 managers of all time? Things along those lines. But as we progressed, we started taking more of a serious approach to it, wanting to do reviews, predictions, things of that nature. So at this current point in time, what we do with wrestling is we do Monday and Tuesday night reviews for SmackDown and Raw. We do prediction videos for all pay-per-views, as well as reviews of all pay-per-views, same night of. Also, we're bringing back our roundtable discussions, and that's what I was explaining to you before, what we first originated on, where we would sit around and talk about different topics. And that's just a really fun time for your boys to sit around, have a couple adult beverages. We do not promote underage drinking whatsoever or drinking and driving, so please stay safe and always be responsible. But we will be bringing those back because that's just an exciting time. And then we also have a thing called Pipe Bomb Wrestling Talk. What that is I think about wrestling constantly and I get these ideas, different questions or maybe bookings that I should see, things along those lines. And then I make about a 5 to 10 minute video on them. All of our videos include video gameplay. So if you're watching our video, you will notice you'll see me in one screen, and the opposite screen you'll see whatever game it is on the video. The games do vary. We try to keep Madden off these videos because I'm already doing a whole channel series on Madden. So these will typically be like your Smite, your Fortnite videos, things of that area. Just more action paced so you're not sitting there just listen to somebody speak. You also have some kind of visualization going on. And as we progress, there will be WWE 2K19 videos. And this is going to be amazing, guys. I'm just so happy that we have been given this opportunity. I can't thank all you guys enough. I mean, you guys are literally, as I always say, please give yourselves a pat on the back and a round of applause because you guys are the reasons we're even having this opportunity today. But with that being said, guys, I don't want to waste anybody else's time. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much. Stop by, grab some popcorn, grab a snack, grab a drink, kick back, relax, because after this intro, we're going to get to the review. Thank you guys so much for sitting through the intro and joining us for this Monday Night Raw review. Huge shout out to the entire KliqpodGaming Nation. Anybody new watching us on Sportskeeda, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Please, if you enjoy it and you like what you see, go check out our YouTube content as well. That's the KliqpodGaming. I also want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Direct WWE. Always doing big things. Please, if you're not following him on Twitter, go check him out. He's making amazing WWE memes. My man's doing big things. And also, a very special shout out to Miss Renee Young. Congratulations on becoming a full-time commentator for Monday Night Raw. You have worked hard. You've been around for years. You have put in all the effort. And now here you are. You deserve this role. Congratulations. Let no one ever take this moment away from you because you have achieved something so huge in this sport. With that being said, tonight's show kicks off with Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman, and pretty much the entire heel side of the locker room walking down to the ring. Dolph, Drew, and Braun proceed to enter the ring, while the entire rest of the locker room proceeds to surround the ring. Dolph starts by chanting and repeating, "We told you so. We told you so. We told you so." And then he says, "There's only one way to describe what happened to the Shield last week. Tell him, big man." At that point, he hands Braun Strowman the microphone. Braun proceeds to say, "We beat them down like McIntyre said last week. We fed on their bloody carcasses." I enjoyed this part. I enjoyed the way they played off last week. If you guys are new to the channel, the Roman agenda is not a conspiracy. It's an actual thing. I am not a part of it. You will learn over time I am not a Roman guy. But with that being said, I am enjoying seeing Braun, Dolph, and Drew together for whatever reason, whether it be the agenda, outside the agenda, for whatever reason. I just think they are a great pack. I think they're just a great pack of ravenous wrestlers trying to get somewhere. And I absolutely love the way they're booking them. I love how dominant the perception of them are. I think they're doing everything right with those three, regardless of the agenda. I will say that until it's blue in the face. That's why, if you're new to the channel, on last week's review, we actually made a name for these three, and they're called the Unstoppables until they decide to name their stable something else. So that's why we went ahead and named them the Unstoppables, because I don't see a force in the WWE, including the Shield, that can stop these guys. But Drew proceeds to hop on, gets handed the microphone, and he says, "Don't take our word for it. Look for yourself." And that's when they play the video package from last week. And I have to say, I love that they had Drew, just a very simple thing, but it got across so well. So they show the video package from last week. When they come out of the video package, they're all three in the ring just dying laughing. Braun laughing the hardest out of anybody. Braun proceeds to say the only reason that Roman is still the champ and the title is around his waist is because he's a coward. He can't do it on his own. He had to surround himself again with the Shield. So Roman surrounded himself with the Shield, surrounded himself with his hounds of justice. So Braun went ahead and surrounded himself with his dogs of war. I like it. I like the comparison. I guess you call them the dogs of war now? I don't know. What do we call them? What do you guys think? Out there, if you guys don't like the Unstoppables as their stable name, what do you think a great stable name for Braun, Drew, and Dolph is? I would like to, man, whoever has the best comment, that's what we're going to change the name to on the show, because I have no problem changing it. Not only that, it's just more fun. It gets more interaction out with you guys. So he proceeds to proclaim that the Shield has been running around for far too long, that they thinking they can get away with anything. Well, that changes now. Their strength in numbers was a huge strength for them in the future, but now it will be their failing point. It will be the reason these guys don't succeed in the future going ahead. Dolph once again hops on the microphone and he starts speaking to the wrestlers that are surrounding the ring. And he talks about how last week they made a choice. It was a hard choice. Don't get them wrong. It was a hard choice, but they did it. They stood up to the Shield. But most important, they stood up for themselves, for the Shield taking away those opportunities that those other wrestlers aren't going to get due to the Shield. And this is really when this whole segment really started. I could feel myself intensifying as I watched it. Do you know what I mean? Just I could feel the intensity just building as I watched Drew get handed the microphone at this point and say, "WWE Universe, can you feel it?" And I swear to you, at that point, I was feeling it. I could feel the change. I could feel the balance of power has shifted, as Drew McIntyre proclaims to say right after that. And that's how I feel. I feel at this current time, the balance of power has shifted. No longer is the Shield the most dominant faction. I mean, yes, they haven't been back for that long, but still, people always thought of them as the most dominant faction in the WWE right now. They're not. I think the Unstoppables are at this current moment. And now that they're, and then Drew continues on to say that now that they're in control, tonight the carnage will continue. Tonight they will set an example for everyone when they dismantle the B team. Braun hops on and begins to proclaim that that's nothing compared to what he's going to do when he gets his hands on Roman Reigns. So right off the start, I didn't think it was a bad segment. I actually enjoyed this part. But it's because it's these three. Tonight was just one of those nights. I just wanted to enjoy something from the show. And this is what I wanted to enjoy. So I absolutely did love this. Thought it hit its mark. Definitely got across to me personally. But what did you guys think of this segment? After this, out comes running the Shield through the crowd. Of course, man, fighting all the wrestlers that outside of the ring that are stopping them from being able to get to the Unstoppables. Then they proceed to grab axe handles and beat the living crap out of everyone. I mean, shots to everybody. Jinder Mahal gets it the worst. He's trying to escape the ring. They pull him back in, sling him. Dean Ambrose just clocks him. At this point, the Unstoppables are outside the ring. So once again, the Unstoppables are Braun, Drew, and Dolph. They are outside the ring at the top of the walkway. They walk out, cut to commercial break, come back from commercial break, and we get a little vlog, I guess you would call it, of the Bellas from earlier in the day. And they're recording for their YouTube channel. They proceed to go in their locker room, and it's absolutely trashed and destroyed with graffiti on the wall, and it's done by the Riot Squad. Thought this was a cool way to set it up. And I also think it continues to build the Riot Squad. If you guys don't follow us on Twitter, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook. If you watch the video, there's actually a scroller at the top and the bottom that gives you all the information on where to follow us and how. But if you guys don't follow us on anything, I absolutely love Ruby Riot. As far as the other two, I think they're hit or miss. Sometimes they do really well. Sometimes Liv and Sarah don't do so well. Ruby, I think, for the most part, is always spot on. I think she has a great look. I absolutely love her character. I love what she does in the ring. I love the way she tells a story in the ring. And I just think she has this great attitude and this, like, it factor to her. Just this it factor where even if you don't like her, you still think she's one badass chick, man. So this is going to set up for our match later this evening between the Bellas versus the Riot Squad. But before we can get to that match, the Shield is confronted by the police, telling them to put down the axe handles. Obviously, the Shield's yelling back at the police, which I don't get, man. If you yell at the cops, man, like, shouldn't you be getting arrested already, especially after last week's debacle? Cooler heads prevail, and they prevail due to Baron Corbin, crazily enough. Baron comes back, looks at the police, explains to them, hey, I don't think we need you guys here again this week. Looks at the Shield. Now, do we, guys? And you guys don't want to go to jail. Just reminds them, you guys don't want to go to jail again, do you? At this point, they're like, no. And then he proceeds to ban them from the building for the evening. Instead of fighting back, Seth Rollins, out of everybody, has the cooler head. As Dean's starting, you know, go into Dean mode, the lunatic mode, and lose his mind. Seth holds him back, lets him know, no. All right. We'll leave. So, you know something's turning inside the brains of Seth Rollins at this point. He knows he has an idea. He has an idea of how they could possibly get back and take care of business for themselves tonight. Then we get Nikki Bella versus Ruby Riot. Nikki with Brie, Ruby with the Riot Squad. To be honest, right out the gate, Ruby Riot was overwhelming for Nikki. Initially, Nikki had gotten a few blows in, but Ruby was just too overwhelming at the initial. there was a crazy part where Nikki's mounted on top of Ruby, laying elbow haymakers, just bam. Like I was almost like I was watching the UFC, almost like I was watching the Tyron Woodley fight. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge UFC fan. So if you guys ever want to drop UFC comments, talk about anything, let's do it. Shout out to Darren. Hey, man, you gave it a good attempt. You definitely showed you deserve to be there. Tyrone, congratulations, buddy. That's why you're the champ. But back to Nikki and Ruby. So she's mounted on top of her, dropping the elbows. Ruby pushes her off. At this point, Ruby gets up. She gets herself tied into the ropes, so the ref has to break it up. But Nikki gets involved. There's a transition to where Nikki's stuck inside the ropes, and Ruby kicks the rope into Nikki's jaw. That's something you don't really see from a lot of people, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. I thought it was to be honest, I thought it was a great spot. I thought it was really great. Like I said, it's something you never see. It's something out of the ordinary. It's always good to see something fresh. So I thought this was a really, really great thought process by Ruby. Unfortunately, it doesn't pay off for her. Nikki hits her with what I got to say was a very nice spine buster. Congratulations, Nick. That was a very nice spine buster. Then hits her with the headlock knee to face. Where she's got her like this, and then she's like, bam, down to the knee. Hits her with multiple clotheslines. Then Nikki proceeds a little later to hit her with an enziguri off the second rope. I thought it was actually good. I think it was the same move she tried to perform last week, and it looked very sloppy. When she went with it, she went very low, barely caught her. I thought this week it looked a lot better. It looked really good. It was smooth, came off really good. And if you go back and watch last week's review, I actually said out of the two Bellas, I thought Nikki was the one who looked like she still belonged in the ring. Ruby Riot tries to go for a Riot kick. Unsuccessful. Nikki actually blocks it. Hits the rack attack. Nikki wins 1, 2, 3. Bella's looking strong as they head into their match this weekend at Hell in a Cell. I know it's crazy. Watching tonight's show, like I was thinking the whole day, like I knew it was the go-home show, but it didn't feel like a go-home show to me. So, I don't know. That was a little weird to me. Then we get the Connors Cure Kids presentation. I absolutely love this. If you guys don't know, me and Mean Dean and Mr. Tommy Guns are all three fathers, man. Huge supporter of kids. So when you hit moments like this, I don't care if you're the most cold-blooded son of a bitch on the planet. You should take a second and show respect to these amazing kids. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to shout each one of them out. So I want to give a huge shout out to the Connors Cure Kids, who are Super Messiah, Diva Supreme, Braden the Punisher, Lala the Unstoppable, Super 4, T-Vic the Skull Crusher, which I think is like the dopest name ever. That's such a great name, is it not, guys? Charlie the Champ, and the Quiet Storm. So huge applause for these amazing little kids. And to any other little kid going through anything else, I don't want you to feel left out either, because we love you here as well at the Kliqpodcast. We are all about the kids. We are all about the generations going forward and getting better and just showing how much better they are than us. So huge shout out to these amazing kids. Please, if you guys haven't seen this segment of Monday Night Raw, go back and watch it. It was done really well. The Big Show announces all of them, and he tries his best to give them like that announcement. And before they actually present them on stage at the arena tonight, they had this little video with Stephanie McMahon giving them their own entrances. And I just thought all around, it was absolutely amazing. Just one of those moments where even if the show's absolutely horrible, that moment should always bring a smile to your face and make you remember, like, outside of an entertainment conglomerate, the WWE does so many things across, like, to make fans happy outside of the actual product and wrestling itself. So absolutely love this. Then we get Mr. Drake Maverick returning with AOP, and I told you guys last week, I like this. Now, I was on Twitter tonight, and as I'm going through my Twitter feed, if you guys are new to the channel, there's a YouTube podcaster that does WWE programming that I absolutely love. He is my favorite podcaster out there. His name is @JD from NY206. If you guys know about him, a lot of you guys might not like him. I'm sorry for you. I absolutely love his work, think he's great, but I was reading it, and he had mentioned that it kind of feels like AOP is going through a name change without the name change. It's like they're not even referred to as the Authors of Pain anymore. They're just referred to as AOP. And I get it. And I fully agree with what he's saying. Because when they originally come out for their match, or the first time we see them for the night, I would always mention Authors of Pain because there's so much intimidation factor in that name. It's a name of two beasts, two monsters. And I think when you kind of reduce it down to AOP, first off, it makes me think of the Acolytes. AOA. Or APA. But not only that, it just kind of takes away the sting of the name. So something that was so intimidating where you hear, oh my God, the Authors of Pain are coming down. Then when you hear, oh my God, it's AOP. Which one just has more intensity, intimidation when you hear it? I mean, Authors of Pain is pretty self-described. They're all about pain. So tonight we get to see them again with Drake Maverick. Drake, it's a little backstage segment before their match. Drake proceeds to tell them that they will not be ignored anymore. Harness the fury, channel the rage, make no one ever forget the carnage caused by AOP. And they keep booking them in these squash matches. Like, once again tonight, we had another squash match. The match itself, it was a squash match. Akam and Razor absolutely kill these two local Joe wrestlers. Super Collider, 1, 2, 3. But we've seen this with AOP since they came up to the big card outside of Wrestling with Titus Worldwide. Seeing them in squash matches is only going to keep the nostalgia and the intimidation for so long. At some point, you need them to completely demolish some of these bigger teams on the roster to really start to build that name and climb towards the top. So I think this is one of the places the WWE needs to step up their booking. Because if they don't, they're going to really let this amazing heel tag team go to waste when I personally think they could be one of the top echelon teams and almost a stepping stone for most teams to try to get to the title hunt. In my opinion, they should be the tag. They should be the tag champs within the next 6 months. But if you keep booking them this way, they're never going to get there. I mean, it's that simple. Okay, you got to build them. Like, let's start seeing them in matches against other people. So hopefully, WWE Creative, huge, we're asking you, huge move here. Please, start booking them in some, what can be still considered squash matches, but against better tag teams to build the legitimacy of these guys. Because a lot of fans have forgotten how amazing, or a lot of guys have just forgotten about the Authors of Pain because of the way they keep getting booked on the show. And when you keep showing them with Titus Worldwide, as we had seen for like a month and a half, you're not helping these guys in any way. If anything, you're actually harming their brand. So hopefully going forward, we're going to see them in similar squash matches, but against some bigger teams until we start to really see them start to get to the upper echelon and the elite teams of the WWE. Then we see a limousine pull up outside of the building. Mr. Triple H himself walks out. I have to say, if you go back and watch last week's video, and I still stand by my words, and there are many people I respect greatly that absolutely loved what they saw last week, felt it took them back to almost when they were a kid watching it. But for me, it just didn't feel that way. I thought the Shawn Michaels and Undertaker was everything Shawn was doing before the Taker came out was boring. When the Taker came out, that's when it got interesting. Triple H comes out tonight, and he wants to speak on what he's seen last week. Straight from the limousine, we cut to commercial break, come back from commercial break. Triple H is heading down to the ring. He begins by saying that the era is back. Legends are coming out of the woodworks to take their opinion on who's going to win the match. Polls, everything showing, you know, everybody's picking The Undertaker in the long run. I mean, not everybody, but the majority of people are picking the Taker to win this, which we've seen. We've seen from the little vlogs, from If, Han, and Her. I mean, Ric Flair was in there. Stone Cold's been in there, but Stone Cold picked The Undertaker, so that's dope, man. And remember, Shawn Michaels gave him a shout out for that last week. But then he proceeds to say how he's watching it, and, you know, then Shawn comes down, and Shawn takes offense to this. Like, Triple H is wondering why is anybody taking offense to this? And Shawn's taking offense to it and is standing up for Triple H. But it's not Shawn who Triple H is questioning. It's the Taker who Triple H is questioning. Because the Taker appeared last week and he was so concerned about this. And it got Triple H to thinking that the Taker, after everything they've been through, all their wars, he appeared in front of Shawn Michaels to say that it bothered him. That Shawn Michaels coming out there to pick his best friend Triple H was bothering him. Triple H watched it back. He said he watched it back. And at first, he thought The Undertaker just didn't have respect for him and Shawn. But then after watching it again, he realized that actually The Undertaker just had lost respect in himself. Said he didn't even, I mean, he states facts. He didn't have the balls to show up in front of the Triple H and tell him. He showed up in front of Shawn Michaels. He was not even in the match. He was just commenting and showing some support for his best friend. Damn, man. Triple H just has a way with the microphone. I really enjoyed this part. Thought this was an absolutely great segment. Great segment done this week. But Triple H gets you ready for the big fight. He gets you ready. He gets you that big fight feel around it. Now, and the fact that they're two older men, do I care about watching this match itself? No, but I'm going to love the build-up, especially everything we see from now till the Super Show. I know I'm going to absolutely love everything that they drop with. And then he says that the aura, the streak, the mystique, it's all went away. Now the Undertaker's just nothing but reputation. And the Undertaker was right about one thing last week. It is personal. And at the Australian show, he will put the Undertaker down. So, once again, man, excellent segment done by Triple H. Building you up for the big fight. The Super Show in Australia. Taker versus Triple H. Can't wait to see what these two deliver next week. Not only that, we find out towards the end of Raw, the Undertaker will be live on Monday Night Raw. Next week, fingers crossed, I hope Triple H is as well. I want to see the confrontation. I know you guys out there want to see it as well. Then we get Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus the B Team in a rematch for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Bo and Curtis, the B Team. You know, initially that first night it was initially made, I was loving them. For about the first 3 weeks, I was loving it. And then it just kind of slowly died on me. Got more annoying than anything with the lucky wins, things of that. Like the first couple of lucky wins, I dug it. I totally understood it. It worked in perfect for me. But as you progress and you keep doing the same things, it just kind of loses its feel. So tonight's match starts out with Bo and Dolph. And Bo hits Dolph with the neck breaker. Throws Dolph in the corner, stomping him out. Nice tag to Axel, man. I mean, before Axel comes in, Bo was handling things. Axel comes in. Things didn't go so well from this point on. Dolph is doing what he does, you know. Dolph takes his beating, but you always know he's going to come strong in the end. They do something that I thought was beautiful. I think we had seen it last week as well, but thinking back, I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. But we have Curtis Axel, or was it Bo? I'm pretty sure it was Curtis. laid over Drew McIntyre's back like he's going to give him a flapjack. Then you have Dolph Ziggler run up and kick him, which leads to the flapjack. I thought that was excellent. I think that is a great setup move for what I'm calling the Klazag. Nobody's given the Claymore and the Zigzag a name yet, so I'm going to call it the Klazag. I think that might be the best double team finishing move out there. It just works so well because you have the front boot, the front flying face kick with the zigzag. So, I mean, that's just an excellent combination of moves. But it disturbs me that they haven't figured out a name for this yet. We only get a 2 count at this. Bo Dallas, he gets tagged in. He hits a big tackle on Dolph Ziggler. Only gets a 2 count. You could tell at this point Dolph and Drew are starting to want to end this match. We get an inside cradle that's on pin attempt on Dolph that's broken up by Drew McIntyre. We get the irate to Bo. Klazag, Dolph and Drew retain. But the important thing is after Dolph and Drew retain, we get a surprise attack from Ambrose and Rollins wearing street clothes. And this will build into the story as we move on. McIntyre ends up saving Dolph, pulling him out before any further damage can be done. These two walk away the tag champions still. We knew at some point we were going to see these two. With them getting kicked off the show so early, I mean, that's a thing. You know, if somebody leaves, gets sent away from a show early in the evening, we're going to see him again at some point. So it really wasn't a shocker to me when I seen these guys come out and try to get the upper hand. But thank God Dolph and Drew are too smart and make sure they hightail it before they really get taken out. Then we get KO, Kevin Owens, versus Tyler Breeze. I love the way this was done. I think we're finally going to get to see the KO everybody wants to see. The KO that just doesn't play games, is vicious as hell, and beats everybody. And that's what we've seen tonight with Tyler Breeze. We don't even get a match. Before the match could get started, KO attacks Tyler. Tyler lays a shot back at KO. It does nothing. He ends up receiving an apron powerbomb for his troubles. Ref's like, yo, back the hell up. KO grabs a microphone, gets in the ring, and proceeds to talk. Talks about how 2 weeks ago, when he left, Baron Corbin, the new acting general manager at the time, begged KO to come back. KO says he recognized KO's value, so he came back. But when he came back, he told Baron he couldn't be held accountable for anything he does. So last week, when he beat the Shield, it was because he was sick of him. He was done. And that he's just doing his job, because under his new agreement, he could do what he wants pretty much when he wants. Then he proceeds to bring up Bobby Lashley and make sense of why he attacked Bobby Lashley last week. And as JD was already saying, it was due to his friendship with Sami Zayn. KO blames him for the reason Sami not being here now to wrestle. He is the reason Sami is off the shelf. So with that said, he's not playing any more games. He will take care of Bobby Lashley and destroy him, because that's his job, and because Zayn is his best friend. So, well done, man. I mean, when you get KO on the mic, that dude is money, especially when you do this KO. Not the other KO that's whiny as shit, or the KO we seen with Jericho where he's always hiding behind somebody else. This is the KO I want to see. The raw, aggressive, animalistic, destroying everything Kevin Owens. Thank you, WWE, for booking this correctly for me. And we all know this is going to lead up to a match with Bobby Lashley and KO at some point. And it will probably be something with a stipulation. So look for that as we move forward. We get a backstage segment between Baron Corbin. He's talking to Seth and Dean, asking them what they're thinking. Do they want to go to jail? Seth proceeds to be like, what are you talking about, man? We're not the Shield. We're just Dean and Seth. Shield's probably out at some bar on Bourbon Street having a beer or two. Then he proceeds, what do you guys want to get arrested again? And Seth's like, that's funny that you talk about arrests. Siemens, how you falsified us last week. Through all the history of wrestling, and we're the ones who get arrested. This is a part that annoys me. If you're new to the channel, I am huge on details when it comes to the storyline, when it comes to the in-ring action, when you're telling a story in the ring. I am all about details. You're not the first persons to get arrested. You're not the first people to be arrested on Monday Night Raw. Stone Cold Steve Austin, ring a bell. Man's been arrested more times than who knows on freaking Monday Night Raw. I'm going to have to look that up. Now I'm very curious. So actually, after we're done with this video, I'm going to actually look that up. How many times has Stone Cold been arrested on Monday Night Raw? But you really killed this segment for me right there because you give incorrectional facts. You try to play this as if they're the only people this has happened to. It's not. Now, if you would have played it along the lines of, man, that was pretty fucked up, man. What did you do that for? Something, excuse my language. I mean, we're on Skeeta now, so sorry about that. But, you know, you messed up. What's that all about? Then I understand where you're coming from. So at this point, Seth proceeds to talk about, speaking of cops, you know, falsifying our claims from last week. We're going to go ahead and pretty much get you arrested tonight. And there's a cop in the building. Another thing about attention to detail. I've never met a man who's ever been approached by a cop, whether it be positive or negatively, and not read the name badge. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, that's just a natural place your eyes glance. So instead of getting arrested, Baron Corbin makes a compromise with Seth Rollins. He wants to talk to him in private. So they talk in private. Dean Ambrose and this cop that was in the office with him proceed to walk out. Dean's talking to him about, you know, next time, you know, they didn't find anything in the car. He didn't really think he was speeding, yada, yada, yada. I'm reading the name tag, and the name tag says Ambrose, clear as day. Ambrose G. That was the name on the police officer's name tag. Seth Rollins comes out, proceeds to say, just chuckling, talking about how everything worked out for him. Dean looks at this police officer and tells him, you know, talk to you later, pretty much. Hits at me that, you know, obviously they're playing it along the lines of the police officer and Dean Ambrose were related. But this is where you kill it for me. So you're telling me at no point did Baron Corbin look at the damn name on the name tag and realize there was like something going on here? The way I would have liked to have seen this done was you could play it out exactly like you had it. But then you have Corbin in the back and he's just watching a replay of the tape and he notices the same thing I noticed, that the last name says Ambrose. And then he proceeds to continue with the idea of that they're going to have a normal tag match at Hell in a Cell. But then you come out right before the start of Hell in a Cell, bring it back to Monday night, and speak on how, due to that, there's some kind of new stipulation added to this. Because I'll be honest, I don't want to see Dean and Seth walk away with the title. Right now, you're already putting the Intercontinental title on hold. And that was actually brought up by So I was listening to JD this weekend, and that's one of the things he was mentioning. It's like, and I didn't even think about it last week. Like, I think we had mentioned it for a second, but we don't go really into detail about the Intercontinental Championship being on hold at all last week. But JD does. And I mean, I'm sitting back there thinking, and I'm looking tonight, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, we are on hold. You worked so hard to bring so much prestige back to the title, which you have. But now you put it on hold once again for the agenda. This is where you hurt your own product. So Baron proceeds to go talk with, Baron proceeds a little later in the show to go talk with Dolph, Andrew, and Braun, letting Dolphin know that at Hell in a Cell they will be in a tag team championship match, defending their championships against Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. I don't have a problem with this. You have to wait for my prediction, the prediction show, which will probably come out on Wednesday or Thursday, to see what I'm going to pick. But as of this moment, if you were to ask me, I'm going with Dolphin Drew. That's what I want. I want it there. I don't want the Shield to obtain all the titles. They will literally have, what title will be left for anybody else if they win those? Seth's the Intercontinental, Roman's Universal. Can we at least have a title that doesn't involve these guys? Like, literally, the rest of your show is on hold right now because you're revolving every title on your programming around 3 dudes. What am I really watching the other Raw matches for then? You know? It's just one of those situations. Then we get Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus The Ascension. If you're new to the channel, I love The Ascension. I've really enjoyed him since NXT. I feel they're one of those teams that always gets thrown to the bottom of the line. They're always the team that's going to get beaten in a match. So tonight was no different. Match starts off with Bobby Roode in the ring originally. Chad Gable tags himself in immediately. Suplexes like crazy, man. Quickly getting ended by a kick with Victor. Say for about 2 minutes, the Ascension's taking the upper hand in the match. We get a hot tag to Bobby Roode, comes in, clears house, setting himself up to go for the glorious DDT. Instead, Chad Gable slaps him on the back, tags himself back in, hits a German suplex bridge. 1, 2, 3. Bobby and Chad walk away victorious. But at the end, you can tell Bobby's confused, and he's not too happy about the idea of Chad just tagging himself in. For me personally, I just think this is a build-up for a match specifically going to be between these two. They're not going to be a good tag team. I mean, who really is feeling Glorious Gable? That's what we'll call him, Glorious Gable. Not me. If you are, I mean, shout-outs to you if you are, but that is not for me. What I think this is all is it's just building up for these two to have a storyline against each other, going one-on-one as we progress forward. So we get Ronda Rousey's, pardon me guys, I gotta take a drink, getting dry mouth right now. We get Ronda Rousey's in a tag match with Natalya versus Alexa and Nikki, accompanied by Alicia Fox. Honestly, I still don't understand what Alicia Fox is even in the storyline. It'd be perfectly fine if the storyline just consisted of the 4 women. We don't need Alicia Fox other than the fact that she took Nikki's role when Nikki was away dealing with other things. So right there, I'm already kind of, I don't want to say annoyed, but you're just questioning, you're wondering like, why is this even going on? But the match kicks off. There was a beautiful double team suplex by Natty and Ronda to Nikki. Ronda didn't get an opportunity to get her hands on Alexa Bliss in this match, and I don't blame the WWE for booking it this way. You're 6 days out. We just seen this a month ago. There is no reason for you to even let me see those two lock up before this pay-per-view. Thought it was well that we just kept Nikki in the ring most of the time. Nikki gets beat down, man. Early in the match, Natty's laid out. Alexa is going to grab her arm and put on the arm bar, staring at Ronda. Alexa proceeds to get rolled up by Natty. It's a close 2 count. Later in the match, Ronda returns the favor, staring at her while she puts on the arm bar, but she actually gets the arm bar on, causing Mickie James to tap. At this point, Alexa comes in the ring and takes a cheap shot to Ronda Rousey's ribs, which were already damaged from the match. So Ronda's not in the best of shape. We'll see how she looks going into Sunday's match against Alexa Bliss. Right now, all my cards are on Ronda walking away and retaining the title. But you never know. This is one of the ones where they could honestly throw us for a swerve. This could all just really be a setup to something. Maybe try to get the belt back on Alexa for the Trish Stratus. I would absolutely hate that if they went that way. Just leave it on Ronda. Since I already feel you put it on her too early anyways, might as well just keep it on her. No reason to waste what she's done or the story you're trying to build with her. Then we get a backstage segment with Elias. Elias spits some fluids out in his assistant's face, asks him, what is this? I figured some tea. It's not chamomile. He said his writer specifically told him he has to have chamomile tea. Tells him the assistant to go fix it for him. He's off to go fix it. The assistant stopped by Braun Strowman screaming about, have you seen Roman Reigns? He hasn't. Braun, on his destructive path, finds another backstage hand, proceeds to ask him if you've seen Roman Reigns, showing all intimidation in the world to this guy. The guy's scared out of his mind, says no. Braun's starting to let him walk away. Braun grabs him from the back, throws him over on the boxes that all the equipment and everything comes in, and proceeds to continue his look for Roman Reigns. Like, he wants to get his hands on Roman Reigns. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's why he's the monster. Then we get an interview with Charlie talking to Ronda and Natty. And more importantly, she's asking Ronda about the ribs and how are they feeling. Ronda, tries to blow it off, saying she's fine. No matter what, she's never pulled out of a fight in her life. So you can guarantee she will be there Sunday, even if her ribs are broken. So I never questioned it any other way. The girl fought UFC. I don't see why she wouldn't be at Hell in a Cell. It's just, I don't know. That's just one of those parts I don't think you needed. Enough was said. You should have left it to the imagination with us last seeing Ronda just holding and clutching her ribs. Okay, sometimes you go the extra step and your intentions are good, but it really hurts the product more than it helps. So in this is one of those things. I think this could have been left out. You could have left Ronda moving forward. And with Ronda moving forward, we could have just thought that going into Sunday's match against Alexa Bliss at Hell in a Cell, her ribs were just absolutely destroyed. So maybe when we get into the match, right off the bat, Alexa attacks the ribs. So we can continue the story from tonight on, to Sunday. And you'd still leave it all to curiosity. Like, sometimes you don't need to remind us how badass she is. You could have kind of just showed us how badass she was on Sunday, and it would have meant more and cemented her badassness more. Then we get Elias in the ring, speaks about the rich history of music from Louisiana and the Bayou. Says the Shield's trying to ruin, the Shield ruined his performance. He cuts down the city by saying Drew Brees doesn't want to represent Louisiana. I can't lie, I chuckle, man. Since he's been pulling out the sports metaphors and this stuff to actually consistently get at the city he's in, I've enjoyed the work he's done. Out comes Mick Foley. Foley initially actually apologizes for interrupting Elias in the ring. Says he's a huge fan. As a vocalist and a musician, he admires him. But as a lyricist, he doesn't have a sincere bone in his body. So Elias proceeds to tell him, you want sincere? 20 years ago in Pittsburgh, I sat and watched as The Undertaker threw you off the Hell in a Cell. As you came back, climbed back up, and he chokeslammed you into the ring. And all he could think is, how standing in the ring with him is nothing but a shell of a man. A man that we used to think once before as the greatest, the most intense wrestler from the amounts of pain he could take and the spots he would endure. Says he's just a broken man now. Mick gets on the mic. Mick Foley gets on the mic and tells him, I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm here to talk about the future. And with that being said, with it being the 20-year anniversary of Hell in a Cell, there's no way he could not be involved in this, whether it's just being the timekeeper, ringing the bell, anything. He wants to be involved. So he called Stephanie McMahon, and he told her. And originally, and then Elias cuts in. He's like, I bet she laughed in your face, didn't she? And he's like, initially she did. Initially she did laugh in my face. But then I reminded her of her story. Once again, reliving Hell in a Cell, which was absolutely amazing. I mean, I watched it live as a teenager. Holy shit, it was amazing. Or holy crap, was it amazing. Absolutely enjoyed it. That's always going to be a memory in my mind. See, like, I don't need to go back and ever watch it. I do from time to time, but I don't need to because it's that vivid still to this day in my head. It's just so crazy sitting there watching it. Dude, there were parts where I literally thought Mick Foley might have died. Okay, literally might have died. Like, I was even looking at my mom like, oh my, and my mom can't handle like big spots or blood spots in the WWE. So the match was very intense for her. When she seen that, she was like, oh my God, Justin, I think he's dead. I just looked at her like, oh my God, Mom, I think you're right. So it was crazy. But he proceeds to tell Stephanie, and Stephanie proceeds to agree. So what Stephanie decides she's going to do is make him the special guest referee for the Universal title match between Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. So now it's Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns with Mick Foley as your special guest referee. For me, I won't lie. I hope they play this in the storyline. Can you tell me how? I hope they play this in the storyline. I'll tell you right now. This is exactly how I would book it. Mick would turn on Roman. Mick would turn on Roman. Plus, I've heard rumors. We've all heard the rumors of The Rock and freaking Roman at WrestleMania. What better way to get The Rock back on the show than having Mick Foley turn his back on Roman and be the reason Roman loses the Universal title to Braun Strowman? As if Mick looks at Braun Strowman as who he was when he first won the title as Mankind. And he sees Roman as your Stone Cold, your rocks. More of your rocks. The man that regardless, he was always pushed to the forefront. So I'm praying to God they play this into the storyline, because I think this could work out so freaking well and can be perfectly executed if they just take their time and do this right. Even though, I mean, there's not time to waste, but right now, see, if I was a raw WWE creative, I'd be working on Sunday's ideas now. I would be brainstorming with Vince, like, Vince, what ideas, like, what are some ways you want things to go so we can think about how we truly need all this to be booked? Then we get a quick shot of Braun still in the backstage, walking around looking for Roman Reigns, destroying everything. He don't give a crap. But before Mick Foley leaves the ring, he said he's been granted a special opportunity one time. And that's to go ahead and make a match that he sees fit on Monday Night Raw. And the match that he sees fit, Finn Balor versus Elias. I mean, what do you want me to say? It was decent. It was a decent match. Not a lot went on. It was only about 5 minutes. Finn hits a sling blade. Elias hits this beautiful running knee to counter it. Elias hits a sweet spin out, sit down power bomb. Absolutely gorgeous. Only gets a 2 count. Finn Balor goes to the top, misses a coup de grace. Elias goes for the drift away. Elias gets rolled up. 1, 2, 3. Finn Balor walks away victorious. And then came my favorite part. So, and keep in mind, I waited till 45 minutes later to bring up my gripes with Renee. But all shout outs and congratulations on the World Tour. But my opinion included, Renee's not the commentator for me personally. Not because she's a woman, just because how biased she is, and she actually proceeds to show favoritism. Your job is to commentate favoritism, but not after the outcome is shown. Now you can show concern afterwards for either way it goes. Or if you want to have them moments where like it's this, finally after all this stuff, but she just constantly throws a bias for these baby faces. And Michael Cole has to remind her, Renee, no cheerleading. Like, yo, you can color commentate, but no cheerleading. And it was nice to hear that, man. Because it kind of feels like they watch our shows. And it's crazy because I know a lot of you guys are like, man, we don't even know who you are, so how would they know? lot of subscribers, you can't even see who it is, man, because they privatize what they like. But hey, man, it makes us feel as though somebody's watching the show, because that is one of my one of the toughest things for me to deal with Renee on commentator, is her biasness. And then there was one point during the Bellas match, man, where she said the Riot Squad should be kneeling to them, to the Bellas, for what? Like, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, they did something different with the Bellas are the literal definition of divas. When I think of diva wrestling, I think of the Bellas. So why, after we have these amazing women, are you proclaiming that all these women who are doing amazing things should respect these people of the era we're trying to forget, which is the Bellas, or sorry, the Divas era? So I don't know, just a little frustrating complaint. But once again, congratulations to Renee. Regardless of my opinion of you, that's not what matters. You stay out there doing big things. Shout out to you. You're doing it, woman. And then we get a little Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush segment. Lio Rush is losing his mind, you know, building Bobby up. Bobby's working out. He takes off his headphones like, dude, can you see I'm working out? And Leo's like, dude, I'm just trying to market. I'm just trying to do some marketing for you. He's like, my man. Honestly, if you want to take anything I love out of Bobby right now, outside of he does good work inside the ring. I think his character's pretty flat, so I wouldn't mind seeing him with a Lio Rush or something along those lines. But with that being said, with us seeing a Lio Rush or something along those lines with Bobby, I don't mind the my man part. That kind of seems like it would fit perfect with who he really is. Even though I know somebody personally that has had previous relations. No, I don't want to say anything like that because I'm going to twist it up. I got a friend that says Bobby Lashley is like one of the sweetest guys in the world. So I don't want to take anything away from that. But I do like my man. Outside of that, man, let's just get this Bobby and KO going. I think these guys are going to produce a great match together, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Then we get Braun talking to Charlie for a little bit, and he tells her he's going to ask the questions tonight. And the question is, where's Roman? She's, all scared. She's like, I don't know. I think I seen him left the building earlier. Braun's like, where is Roman? She says, I don't know, maybe go to the ring and he'll find you. He's like, that's a good idea. So before we cut to commercial, we see Braun heading out to the ring. When we come back, see Braun going down to the ring. He's just yelling, Roman! Gets in the ring, says he's sick of waiting, calls Roman out, come meet him like a man face to face. Gives it a little bit, about 2 minutes. Proceeds to say, just like I thought, the Universal Champion's scared. But he has nowhere to go once we get in that cell. Not only that, Roman's boys can't help him. The special guest referee, Mick Foley, can't help him. And if Mick Foley does try to help him, he's going to make what The Undertaker did to Mick Foley look like a paper cut. Dude, I was loving this part. I won't even lie. Roman comes out and he's on the announce table. Puts down the Universal title. Braun walks up, receives a Superman punch as soon as he gets to the top of the walkway. Proceeds to grab Roman, start beating him against the Titantron. Almost like he's trying to throw him through the Titantron. Then he proceeds to go over, clear off the announcer's table, take Roman over, get on top. Roman lifts Braun up for a Samoan drop. Samoan drop through the table. Roman, like he's banged up and he can barely move, walks up, grabs his Universal title from the top of the walkway, holds it up, and that's how Raw ends tonight. So for the go-home show, it was a go-home show. We'll leave it at that. With that said, am I truly hyped on the side of Raw's Hell in a Cell card? No, not really. A couple matches I look forward to, but outside of that, I think really it's SmackDown that's carrying this pay-per-view. Also, seeing Braun be the one who got destroyed tonight, Should that give us hope that maybe they won't screw Braun and make him another person who cashed in the Money in the Bank only to lose? Guess for that one, we have to wait till Sunday. But with that being said, man, I once again, before we end this video, I want to thank you so much if you have stayed through all the way to the end. Not only that, I want to thank you guys so much for helping us achieve this opportunity of getting to the platform of Sportskeeda. Please go check our video out over there as well. Other than us, there is tons and tons of WWE content coming from there. But as always, guys, thank you so much. Please always give yourselves a round of applause and a pat on the back, because if it wasn't for you guys, none of this would be possible. But not only that, as I always say every week, take names, kick ass, and peace.